Go on, Wayne.
Oh, we're going to talk about electrics.
Let's do it.
This is your field. This is your... Ben McIntyre from Tiny Home Rolling Pasture. I'm here with Ryan Francis from Ryan Francis Electrical, and we've been having an interesting time, haven't we, Ryan? Putting together the electrical systems on these two tiny houses, not just one, but it's two tiny houses together. We've been collaborating for a good month or two now on how we're going to do it, and every now and then we execute something. Can you talk us through and maybe give some value to our viewers, explain to them a little bit about what goes into wiring a tiny house to get, I guess, the most efficient and reliable service?
All right, well, you basically, the first step's to have a good think about what you want in your tiny house. Take it from there, always remembering you've usually only got a 15 amp supply to work with, so obviously elements are your enemy, so ovens, electric ovens, kettles, all that sort of thing will take up a fair chunk of your available power. This installation's a little bit different because we've got two separate vans in essence that will be sharing the one supply, or set up to share the one supply. Obviously that's going to limit the amount of, not limit, but you just have to be aware that you've still only got the 15 amps between the two vans. Yeah, alternately you can wire each one to a separate supply to give you the 15 amps in both. But this one maybe being off grid, we've set it up so you can supply one from the other. Yeah, but the main thing really is realising the limitations on how much power you've actually got to use.
So we went through and we worked out everything that might be used in a tiny house on wheels. We've managed to convince the owners that they should be cooking with gas rather than any other form of electricity. So,
yes.
Like, as you said, elements or anything that's going to cause heat is going to draw a lot of power.
Yeah, toasters and kettles. So if you can do all that on your gas, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially if you're off alternate supplies or batteries or anything like that. So obviously elements are going to chew them out pretty quick.
Right. So when you're saying alternate supplies, you mean not mains power?
Not
alternative
mains,
to mains,
not mains power. Yeah. So whatever you want to use, generators and solar and inverters, batteries. Yeah, anything but bar mains.
But you've wired both of our tiny houses here to accept mains?
Yes.
So they're just a regular 240 volts for both lights and electricity and power.
Yep, it's all 240.
All 240.
No 12 volt in this one. That is an option with them, but if you've got 240, I like to use it. I think it's a better idea. Yeah, but again, that comes down to your initial design and where you're going to put it and how you want to try and run it, really.
A lot of those bigger appliances and so forth that you've been talking about can be swapped out from electricity, can't they? So you mentioned the oven, changing that over to gas.
Gas, yes.
What are some other things that you can probably do without?
Well, you've got your kettle, but you can run a gas
on your
cooktop, boil the pot, or get one of the gas kettles. Toasters, you know, you can do that if you've got a gas griller and all. You know, the old camping wire on the stove would do the trick for you as well. It's not saying you can't use them. You just got to be wary of how much they draw.
Yeah.
So you know, you can boil the jug, no worries. But if you're using too much else in the same time, well, it's going to overload your supply.
All right. So there's a tip for people: if you're going to be using items, appliances that draw a high current. What do you call high? Over 1500 watts? 2000 watts?
A kettle, you know, your kettles range from 1800 to 2400 watts. 2400 watts is 10 amps, so that's 2/3 of your power.
Yeah, so you'd be very wary, wouldn't you, about running any of those types of items with a high amperage or high wattage draw along with any other item that draws high as well, would you say?
A good one would be boiling the jug while you're running your washing machine. So that's, you know, that's probably right on the verge.
If you've got to have a washing machine in a tiny house that's connected to power, and there are quite a few manual ones out there that do a very good job, perhaps look into twin tubs. Twin tub washing machines, the older style, consume much less electricity than your modern ones.
The more efficient appliances you can put in there, that obviously that's going to help you too. They do inverter fridges, and I think washing machines, you can get inverter motors in them now, and yeah, that brings down your peak loads and everything.
Yeah. And soft starting too, so it doesn't require so much energy just to get it started.
That's pretty much what the inverter's all about when you're talking about it. I won't go into too many details.
Well, we'll just keep this light. The reason that we wanted to make this video for you is to show you a little device that we found that really helps us to make a safer tiny house for our clients who may be using an alternative power supply. Now, I'm not going to try to explain what it is, but I'll get Ryan from Ryan Francis Electrical to demo for us. Well, not to demo, but to explain this new device that we found that we've just recently installed, and why it's been installed and what it's going to do for us.
All right. This little device here, it's called a RVD, as opposed to what you've probably normally heard as a RCD, which is what a lot of people know as a safety switch.
And they stand for both the R's stand for residual, and both of the D's stand for device.
Yes, so one operates your normal safety switch in your house is an RCD, so it works on, it senses current imbalance. Whereas your RVD, it's essentially like a really old school safety switch where it works off of voltage. So it's actually an extra level of protection. It enhances the operation of an RCD basically. So just with a bit of background, in AS3001, which is what we wire transportable structures to, caravans, tiny homes, there's a bit of a grey area in there when you start talking about using generators and or inverters, portable generators or inverters. So there's two types you can get. You get isolated and protected generators or inverters. So your protected ones have basically got an RCD on them, and they're fine, but generally have to be hardwired into your system in case someone unplugs that and plugs in a isolated one. So the grey area in AS3001 is basically for a portable generator. You can unplug it and plug a isolated generator in, but there is no guarantee that your isolated generator will have a circuit breaker on it, not a safety switch. So the safety switch in your van, essentially you may not have an earth reference point which the RCD needs to trip. So your RCD may or may not trip is basically what it says, but
if you're using an alternative power supply.
Yeah, a portable supply. So unplug your mains and plug in a generator. All right. So basically what this device does is it assists the RCD. So if it detects a voltage on earth, so you're getting electrocuted or whatever, there's a fault, it'll detect that voltage and then trip the RCD. So yes, it's another level of protection above a normal safety switch in this situation.
So my non-professional understanding of what you've just said is that once people have a tiny house on wheels or other mobile structure, they really can go unplugging and plugging whatever they want.
That's right.
Without anyone looking over their shoulder and saying, hey, don't do that, that could be dangerous.
Exactly right.
So what we're trying to do is trying to make a product that protects people no matter what they do.
That's right.
We're not saying you should plug in anything anywhere. We've got very specific places where things should be plugged in, and we'll let people know about those. But essentially what we want to do is not just look out for a change in current, in amps. We want to also look out for a change in the system in volts.
That's right.
And that volt device, the residual voltage device, works in conjunction with the RCD, the residual current device, to make sure that even if there isn't sufficient earth for the RCD to work, then the RVD will work in the case that there's an unsafe level of power supply. Is that right?
Yeah, or fault.
A fault.
Not power supply, a fault.
If there's a fault in the power supply.
In saying that's pretty much it, Ben.
Okay.
In saying that, this particular model of RVD here has got reverse polarity protection on it as well. So if someone makes their own leads and crosses over active neutral,
right,
this thing will trip out.
So what we're really trying to do here is going above and beyond the standard regulations, and we're trying to
that's exactly right,
protect people and their children from any situations which might arise.
Yes, the company that supplies these things he seems to think that the standards are outdated, and there's better ways to go about doing things. So he's come up with this device and got it all standards approved, IEC approved. Yeah, so he's
well, we'll give him a plug too.
Product. He is
residual voltage devices. They're made by
RVD safe.
RVD safe.
Yeah, he has a little bit to do with he's big into marine power, inverters and shore supply and all the rest of it. So yeah, very he's at the forefront of the industry basically as far as transportable structures go.
Yep, there you go, making it safe for tiny houses. Well, that's good news all around. Makes us feel better as a supplier or a manufacturer. It's got to make our clients feel better.
Yep.
And
at the end of the day,
and you're signing off on it too,
That's
so
right,
you feel safe about it.
Exactly right.
Everyone wins.
Makes me sleep easy at night. It's all about safety at the end of the day.
It is. All right, thanks very much, Ryan Francis from Ryan Francis Electrical.